So apparently, I only recorded one episode of a podcast feature I'd call Bob and Dad. It was from December 3rd, 2010. There was some football and some baseball and some basketball. My dad and I talked it all. My dad would not be that one that would stand out and be that call into a radio show or be that guy that needed attention. But hey, what's better than talking sports with your dad? We would argue a lot. I shouldn't say argue, maybe debate is the better word. Events. Somehow on this one we agreed on most things, which is very disappointing, but we did agree. And it still makes for a good podcast episode. My dad's been gone about 10 years, but hey, 15 years ago, we were going to do an episodic series, and yours truly made it one episode. I don't know if I was bad or if my dad wasn't as good as I thought, or he didn't want to do it anymore. Who knows? But the one episode of Bob and Dad, what a classic. And here it is on the Sports Buffet podcast.
New segment here on the Sports Buffet podcast. I call it Bob and Dad because if you can hear my dad and I argue, it's really fun to bring it to the internet. First topic, Pops. NFL. Andre Johnson and Cortland Finnegan got into a little bit of a fracas last weekend. Only a $25,000 fine. Appropriate, or should there have been a suspension?
Well, I think, no, it shouldn't be a suspension. I think a whole lot of it is just made a mountain of a molehill. He should have gotten fined $75,000, something like that. Make it count. I mean, you got a guy making $5 million a year. You fine him $25,000. It doesn't mean anything.
Two guys take their helmets off and start swinging at each other, and you don't want a suspension?
No.
What gets a suspension in the NFL?
Hit the head, helmet to helmet hits.
Well, that's supposed to get a suspension, but that's not really getting a suspension like it should. Rodney Harrison said on the Football Night in America a few weeks ago with Tony Dungy and Dan Patrick that, fines don't really get people's attention. But when you sit people for a game and they can't play, that's a wake-up call.
No, big enough fines to get their attention. Fine them a game check then.
Well, I agree, but why not fine them the game check and let them sit the game too? I don't. At some point,
I don't want to suspend everybody because I don't want to make it into flag football. Well, we suspend everybody that you does something that's a little tough. I mean, they're pampering players enough as it is. I think the helmet rule is a good rule because they are dealing with people's health. But then this thing where, if you take off your helmet or if you get in a fist fight or something like that, that's a game.
I say it's a game in hockey to get in a fist fight. In football, I don't think it's a game to yank the other guy's helmet off and then start throwing punches like you're auditioning for Manny Pacquiao.
No, I agree. It was an extreme fight. I mean, this is not an occurrence every week, but I don't think it needs penalized. If it becomes a habit where guys do this, repeatedly, then you could suspend them. But I can't see suspending somebody for the first or second occurrence.
Well, I just think Roger Goodell at the beginning was, lay the gavel down commissioner, but now I think he's either laying it down too much or he's not hitting it hard enough because at some point I think, originally they had said when you hit somebody helmet to helmet, you're going to eject them from the game. And I haven't seen any ejections coming from a helmet to helmet. I've seen Richard Seymour slap Ben Roethlisberger in the helmet to a face mask, which I wouldn't have ejected him for, and they ejected him for that. So I just think the NFL needs to get a little consistent.
Well, the
policies.
The NFLs are gonna look after the quarterbacks.
True, absolutely, and the people that make big dollar. But for those people that said they thought that the NFL didn't suspend Andre Johnson because with the NFL Network having the game on Thursday with Houston and Philadelphia, who is tuning? And Andre Johnson's a good player, no disrespect. But who is tuning into a game because Andre Johnson is playing? Andre Johnson does not equal ratings. Michael Vick equals ratings. Andre Johnson, not so much.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a bogus argument.
The Indianapolis Colts are a game out of first, but also being close to a game out of last. There's a good shot, too, if they don't win that division, they don't make the playoffs. Do the Colts make the playoffs?
I'm not so sure. I always reluctant to cut Peyton Manning short, but I mean, it's like he's quarterbacking a mass unit now. He's got so many injuries on the team, and he's having to change his game so much. I don't know if they'll make it. They may make it because There are no dominant teams in the NFL this year. I think in a normal year, if the Colts were playing the way they're playing now, in a normal year, they probably wouldn't make it. But they don't have as much competition.
They're in trouble, though, if it gets to the wild card, because you got to figure one of the wild card spots is going to the Jets or Patriots. The other wild card spot's going to the Ravens or Steelers, and I think the Colts are maybe a game or a game and a half behind those two. So the Colts have to win the division, and let's be honest, the division is not that tough, except for Houston, and Houston has their moments to where they space out on us. But Jacksonville and Tennessee, not so much, especially when Tennessee is playing with a guy at quarterback that I've never heard of. That's problematic. That's trouble.
Yeah.
That's trouble. But, I mean, and the other thing is how much longer does Peyton Manning have?
True.
I mean, I still think he's got a good 3-4 years. Good
Well,
3-4.
Yeah, Peyton has gotten to the point now he needs a supporting cast. And too much of his supporting cast is on the bench right now.
True.
Peyton can't do it all like he could several years ago.
Well, and the other thing too is the defense is hurt too, and in a way the defense is just as much of a supporting cast.
Oh yeah, sure.
For
because,
Peyton.
Yeah, because it gives Peyton time to rest.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, biggest surprise this year in the NFL, whether it be good or bad, it can be a team or player. I don't have a preference.
Probably on the upside I'd have to say the Bears. On the downside I'd say Cincinnati.
I think downside Cincinnati is a good choice, but I think you've got to say Dallas because I mean, people thought Dallas was going to win a Super Bowl. Dallas started just flat dismal, and I mean Wade Phillips should have probably been fired 2 weeks, 3 weeks before he was. A positive,
okay, no argument there.
Yeah, I mean not much you can say about that. A positive surprise though, I think is probably either Sam Bradford and the St. Louis Rams. I mean, Sam Bradford was the first pick, and normally rookies as quarterback really have to take their lumps, and he's taken a few lumps, but I mean, it's not like he's just been, 2 and 8 or whatever. And secondly, if you'd told me Tampa Bay was going to be this good, I'd have called you a lot of names, and they wouldn't have been pleasant.
Well, that's true. I think a lot of these teams looking good, but it's getting back to what I was saying before. The league is relatively weak this year, and I think playing in an atmosphere where you don't have that good of teams maybe makes you look better.
See, I call the word parity, and I call that a word I don't really like as much. I mean, I like it when you have a Dallas or San Francisco.
Well, you need somebody to root against,
right? You need the hating team, and I don't really know that there's a. I mean, the Saints won the Super Bowl last year. I'm a Saints fan, of course, and I didn't even think they were going to make the playoffs this year. With Drew Brees being on the cover of Madden, I told friends at work or whoever would listen to me, I thought Drew Brees would have his leg broken week 3.
Well, one of the few hating teams you have is Philadelphia because of Mike Vick.
But there's other people that don't hate because of Mike Vick. I mean, you still haven't let the Vick train go, and that's your prerogative. But I mean, I think if you took the NFL as a whole, you've got your two most hated teams are the Patriots and the Cowboys.
Cowboys maybe, but the Patriots, I don't know.
I think people hate the Patriots because people hate Golden Boy type of images, and that's Tom Brady, even though he was letting his hair down a little bit. Number 2 is Bill Belichick. I mean, people just hate, I think, arrogance and, just the smug qualities of Bill Belichick. So I'd say the Patriots.
I don't know.
Plus, I'm not fond of Boston anyway, but that's another topic for another time.
I just don't like anybody close to the Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, you just get them out of there.
Right.
College football. Miami fired Randy Shannon this past week. Do these powerhouse teams from the 80s, such as Miami, Notre Dame, Florida State, Nebraska, there are others, have unrealistic expectations of their teams in today's age?
Yeah, I think so. I
Why?
think you're right. Well, most players now, you don't have the good players to play 4 years.
True.
They all leave, by the time they're a sophomore, probably. And some of these programs that you mentioned were so corrupt, I guess, is a word if nothing else. And I guess they have kind of tried to straighten up a little bit. Some of these coaches are pretty good coaches, and they're pretty straight arrows, and it's kind of tough to coach in that atmosphere.
I think the thing is, back in the day, when I was growing up, Miami was on TV a lot. Oklahoma was on TV a lot. Nebraska was on TV a lot. The other teams I mentioned were on TV a lot.
Yeah.
Now Auburn's on TV a lot. South Carolina's on TV. I mean, everybody's on TV a lot. So, I mean, if you're recruiting, I don't think you can say to a kid, hey, you're going to get this much attention here. But, I mean, for God's sakes, Boise State, you can get a lot of attention there, too. So I don't think coaches have that, magnet of we're the only good team or we're the powerhouse. We're going to be playing in the national championship every year because that doesn't happen.
You talk about those teams being on TV back then. You didn't have 2 or 3 football games a week on TV. Now you have 30 a week.
Yeah, I mean, you never play. I mean, you always played on Saturday, and the big bowl games were on New Year's Day. Now bowl week is essentially bowl weeks.
Right.
And I mean, you've got, once it gets late in the season, you have a game essentially Tuesday through Saturday, and maybe even a Sunday with college football. I'm not hating on that. I mean, the more sports, in my opinion, the merrier. But I'm just saying, from a college coach's standpoint, I think that hurts recruiting because everybody's good. It's parity again. It's parity. It's parity. It's parity.
Yeah, and parity's not necessarily a good thing.
No, I don't like it. But anyway, Frank Beamer, head coach at Virginia Tech, they're playing Florida State this weekend in the ACC championships. Tech's got a chance to go to a BCS bowl, which I think people at the beginning of the season after they lost to JMU were questioning, will Tech win a game? They're terrible. But Frank Beamer, overrated or underrated as a head coach?
Well, I'm a UVA fan. I have to live in Central Virginia, so I'm not going to say anything bad about Frank Beamer.
Don't worry, we're not going to tell people where you live or anything.
No, Beamer's done a good job. I mean, guys, you can't argue with success.
I think he's underrated because I think, a lot of people, when they name great college football coaches, name Paterno, and I'm talking more recent, name Paterno, name Bowden. I'm not saying Beamer is necessarily on Mount Rushmore, but I think Beamer's on the short list.
Well, where would Beamer be without Bud Foster?
Well, you can say that, but I mean, and the point I look at too, I mean, they used to have a big thing called Beamer Ball, which, hasn't been as active lately, but I mean, the special teams, they would always get a kick blocked, a punt blocked, whatever, but I mean, to me, the thing is this. If Frank Beamer can recruit to Blacksburg, Virginia, which is not exactly Miami, it's not exactly Tallahassee, it's not a warm climate, it's not exactly, sorry to all my Tech friends, it's not exactly the most attractive place on the world. It's a college town, but I mean, it's small. It's kind of, after Blacksburg, there's not a lot of major metropolitan cities around. So I'm saying, good on Frank Beamer that you can recruit to a small school type area, if that makes sense.
Well, we go back to your argument about television. Tech is on TV a lot now.
Right, but I mean, for a while, I always remember back in '95 when Tech went to that first Sugar Bowl and they played Texas. I think that's what really got them going. And I mean, Beamer had been there, 6-7 years before that. So I think I got to give Beamer credit. I mean, whether you like him or don't like him, nice guy. I mean, I've heard him speak a few times.
Well, Beamer's a good coach.
No ill will towards Frank, but I definitely think he's on the short list. Miami Heat in the NBA, off to a very slow start. Not last night though. They whipped up on the Cavaliers. We're gonna essentially call this LeBron talk. You watched a little bit of the game until it got just unwatchable, and I heard people say TNT should have cut away and gone to Law and Order or Bones at a certain point. But what did you think of the reception when LeBron was introduced, and the acts that followed?
Probably milder than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a lot more booing than it was.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, I think kind of what impressed me or surprised me is once LeBron started getting the ball every possession after that.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think it was going to be that bad the whole game.
No.
But, it kind of got bad. Do you think LeBron regrets going to Miami?
Probably not.
Explain.
Well, if you're talking about cities living in different climates, would you rather live in Cleveland or Miami?
I'd rather live in Miami. I mean, no doubt about
No, I think, because when he was at Cleveland, he wasn't going any further. I mean, they weren't going to win any championships. It takes more than one guy to play basketball. When he went to Miami, they took all these superstars and never supposed to lose a game, and they'll do okay.
Well, I mean, to me, I don't think this would be near as big of a hoo-ha if LeBron was not from the Cleveland area. If LeBron was from, Topeka, Kansas.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And got drafted by that. I mean, because, a lot of people...
He's a hometown kid.
Right. I mean, I'm one that thinks the NBA lottery draft order is conveniently placed each year to when, a superstar is coming out. Superstar lands in a convenient location, in my opinion. So, LeBron, when he was coming out, lo and behold, Cleveland got the first pick. They had been hurt a little bit the year before. I'm not saying they were tanking games the season before, but I think there might have been a colder envelope in the in the ones that David Stern pulled from. A lot of people say that about the first draft lottery when New York wasn't that good and they got Patrick Ewing.
Yeah.
Anyway, LeBron, if he hadn't left the hometown team to go somewhere, I don't think it would be as big of a thing. I think if LeBron regrets anything, he may regret the way he did it. If LeBron had a publicist, they should be fired after
That's it. I think LeBron, tried to do this big theatrical production and everything. That's probably where he failed up. If he had left with, the way most guys leave teams, if he left in that manner, it probably wouldn't be nearly as much going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, they talk about the big three with him, Bosh, and Wade. Chris Bosh has been absolutely terrible to start this season. I mean, and that's kind of what they needed. LeBron and D. Wade are pretty much the same in terms of they're not going to rebound. That's what Chris Bosh was needed for. Score a little bit, too.
Well, Miami Heat's going to be a good team. I don't think there's a question about that. It's like I heard one of the analysts saying the other day, they weren't built to win 70 games. They were built to win the championship.
Well,
and I think that's probably true.
Yeah, the other thing, too, I thought of is, I don't know if you heard this, but when Craig Sager interviewed him after the game, he said, or they might have even brought up during the game, do you think LeBron should apologize to Cleveland? For what?
For what?
I mean, I don't think LeBron owes anyone necessarily an apology. I mean, should he have done it in a different way? Yes. But, I mean, what way could he have done it to where there weren't going to be hurt feelings?
I mean, if he apologizes, what's he going to do? Say, I apologize, I'm stupid?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't fault him for leaving, and I don't, if LeBron was going to leave Cleveland, the place to make that announcement was anywhere but Cleveland.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just for human safety. But I don't think LeBron owes anyone necessarily an apology. I think LeBron is immature. They were playing a soundbite on the Scott Van Pelt show today where, a lot of people were upset when LeBron left to go to Miami. He said, I'm taking my talents to South Beach, which rubbed some people the wrong way. And last night he said something along the same lines. But if Miami keeps losing games, does Eric Spoelstra, the head coach, get fired? And does Pat Riley come down from upstairs? Dwayne Wade said he doesn't want him.
I don't think he will.
I mean, I think a lot of people say that Spoelstra is like a young Riley. He's a good coach. All this, I'm not.
Yeah, I think Pat Riley said he's dating his son.
Well, what can Pat Riley really do? The Heat are just kind of in a slump. I mean, in basketball, you've got to have a little bit more chemistry with the team than you do maybe in a sport like baseball, because 5 people are really working.
Well, that's true. It's more of a team sport, and like say you've got 82 games in the season. I think it's too early to push the panic button.
But I don't think they necessarily win the championship this year either.
Because the thing of it is, when basketball championships come along, every team in the league looks like makes the playoffs.
Right. And,
so all this is there's nothing but preseason and getting ready for the championship.
The other thing you could argue, too, is LeBron was kind of I don't want to say he was selfish, because he didn't go where he got the most money. He went where he feels that he has the best chance to win.
Sure.
But, at the same time, if he don't win a championship while he's in Miami, no tears coming from these eyes.
No.
But that's just me. Final topic, Major League Baseball, and this is one where we have a little bit of interest and passion, both being Yankee fans. Derek Jeter and the Yankees are kind of at an impasse. Supposedly it's getting better. The Yankees said if the Yankees came out today and said, if the deal doesn't get done now, people are not going to be able to blame us because they're willing to add more money. 3 years and $45 million was the initial offer. Supposedly he wants upper of $20 million. What should be done?
The Yankees, like you and I have talked before, if they had all gotten together and said, what can we do to really screw this situation up bad? They could have made a worse public relations mistake than they made with Jeter. I mean, Jeter wasn't going anywhere. If you're talking about contracts, negotiate the contracts behind closed doors. Don't try to negotiate them in the media. And the Yankees have looked bad at every step.
Name me one instance in professional sports where somebody's negotiated a contract publicly and it's worked out. You can't. That's the point. You can't. I mean, I think now I will say I'm going to go against Jeter in one respect. I don't think you can pay Jeter over $20 million at this point.
Well, the Yankees' payroll has gotten so exorbitant, so out of whack. How can you say, okay, Derek, you're not worth that kind of money, but A.J. Burnett is.
True, but I don't think at this point in time, Derek's 36, 37?
Yeah.
You can't give him I say, and you brought this point up when we've talked, and it's an outstanding one, give him a personal services contract. Just basically he turns into a lifelong Yankee. If you want to give him...
make him a Reggie Jackson type.
You even want to give him 1% of the team. I mean, give him 1% of the team after he's done. Whatever you want to do. I mean, if he wants to manage a minor league team, let him manage a minor league team. I mean, whatever he wants. But I don't think the Yankees... I think the money tree ends for them somewhere, too.
Well, I think Derek Jeter, aside from his talent, he's a good guy, apparently, and he seems to have such a respect for traditions of baseball. And you got to handle him with kid gloves. And do your negotiations behind closed doors, because you're not going to win by negotiating in newspapers.
Well, and the bad thing is you gave A-Rod so much money. So much in sports now, it's not about money as much as it's about ego. I don't want to be making less than this guy over here.
You're exactly right.
And when people do that and you get into a contest of mine's bigger than yours type thing, it just spells disaster. I think the Yankees, no way does Derek Jeter leave, in my opinion. Something's going to get worked out. I'm fine with giving Jeter a 5-year contract. I don't think you necessarily need to give him more than $15 million. I don't know, truthfully, if Derek Jeter wants, I don't think he wants to hamstring the franchise financially. I mean, I'm sure he wants what he feels like he's owed, And I kind of think that this is kind of a lifetime contract type thing to where he wants to be appreciated for what he's done in the past, even though he was making big bucks. Then I think this is just as much, too, a little bit of a past compensation thing,
I agree. Like I say, I don't think it's a dollar thing. I mean, Jeter's made, how many hundreds of millions of dollars in his career, probably. And, no, I don't think the money's that big a deal now. If he gets $15 million or if he gets $17 million, I think it's a matter of ego.
I don't think you can pay Jeter more than you're paying A-Rod just because you're paying A-Rod so much money to give that whole side of the infield,
Well, that was a big mistake. Right. I never should have given A-Rod that kind of money.
But you can't give the left side, right side of the infield, whatever it is.
Side, yeah.
You can't give the left side of the infield $50 million just for the left side. I mean, that's 2 players. You can't give them $50 million total.
Well, I mean, the Yankee organization has made a lot of mistakes in, having these inflated payrolls anyway. You can't buy a team. You can buy individual players, but then they go play like individual players.
Well, I think you can buy a team if the team still has some chemistry, because when the Yankees won the World Series in 2009, I mean, there were a lot of big guns on that team, but I think CeCe, Teixeira, even though you're one of the bigger A.J. Burnett haters that there is, I think he meshes a little bit well with the clubhouse. At least he did until he's kind of gotten a little selfish and busted his hand.
At least he did until the postseason, right?
Right, but, that's another topic for another time about my grievances with Joe Girardi. But then the other thing, too, is you got to think the Yankees are going to go get Cliff Lee. Or at least they're going to try.
They're going to try, but I don't think they'll do.
Then, too, the question, though, is with Cliff Lee, how many years do you give him? I don't give him any more than 5. I think 6 years for a 32-year-old pitcher, starting pitcher, at the price that you're going to give Cliff Lee, I don't give him a 6 year. 5 years tops, And then you get into a contest of, do you want to pay him more than Sabathia? You know.
I think the Yankees need to clean up their own house and take care of some of these internal problems before they go ahead and create another problem by giving somebody multi-millions of dollars and probably won't pay it any longer than anyone.
Negotiating in public, never a good thing. They did re-sign Mariano Rivera to a 2-year deal worth $15 million per year, and supposedly there was a second team interested in Rivera that was going to give him a third year, so that's why the Yankees gave him 2 at $15 million, because they didn't want to pay him that much either.
Well, good point. I mean, they negotiated his contracts entirely behind closed doors. You didn't read anything in the paper about that.
You know, 90% of the time, the team that the Yankees are negotiating against is themselves. I think the Yankees negotiate against themselves more than ever. But
probably do, because they're in a league of their own as far as spending money.
Well, I'm sure there will be stuff that goes on this week that we can rail about next week, but you're a podcasting star now.
Okay, well, I don't have much of a star.
Well, you've got a face made for podcasts, that's for sure, just like I do. So anyway, for my dad, this is Bob talking to you next week on the segment Bob and Dad.